So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everybody because I don't want there to be any interruptions. Um, Mr. Langford, if you'll go ahead and unmute yourself. All right.
All
So
righty.
family, I am so excited tonight because we have an amazing guest speaker. He is part of our Shield Nation family. He's like a brother to me. In fact, we are actually brother sister because fraternity sorority, so we're brothers and sisters.
Mhm.
But Mr. Langford has reached one of the top positions in our company. He's been a market leader in his own area. But let me just tell you this, and he may allude to it and he may not, but he's had some health challenges, but he still persevered. And so I'm so excited for this gentleman, and I'm so pleased and honored to call him a very dear, dear friend of mine. So, with that, I'm going to turn the call over to none other than Mr. Juan Langford. Mr. Langford, over to you, sir.
Absolutely. Listen, it is a privilege and definitely an honor. Miss Johnson, I love her. Most importantly, I love the fact that Shield Nation has been my foundation for all 20 plus years, through ups, through downs. And I always tell folks, sometimes you are learning something about yourself, even though you haven't had a chance to go through a test to, as I like to say, to see if you learn anything from the lessons that you learned, supposedly that you didn't know you were learning. And that's the way I kind of look at Shield Nation. Being associated with John Hoffman for all these years, him and Darcy have just been a blessing. But most importantly, Mr. Hamilton, they have truly been my mentors, the Tabs, but most importantly, Miss Johnson. I always say that the things that you see her do, the most important piece about it, it is very authentic. That is who she is. If the lights were turned off, if the camera wasn't on, that would be the person that you would meet in the hall, and she would give you that same information, the same wisdom, the same way she did it from stage. She would do that in a room. It was only five of us at one time. She would do it the same way. And so again, I thank you. I honor you, Miss Johnson. I appreciate everything you've done for me, being a pillar, but most important, an example to know exactly what it looks like to be a true leader. Okay. And so tonight, just to give you all a little bit of done and bread about who I am and how I got here, my background was that of a college football coach. And as I like to say, my wife always said, I thought you just said you coach. I didn't know you did that for a profession. I was like, yeah, I was a real coach. So we laugh about that often because she was like, I thought you were joking and I'm married and you said that, but I didn't see that side of you. And so during my time and tenure of coaching, all of 10, 11 years, I was able to actually be a head high school coach, was able to be a recruiting coordinator, a compliance person for NCAA, but also was able to be an offensive coordinator doing on Division I, Division II level, passing game coordinator. I also was able to matriculate and do a short stint, intern with the Ravens for a short stint, only to leave there and come back to the collegiate level. So I always tell people that coaching is in my soul. Coaching is what I do. But most importantly, it's something that, as I like to say, it's just something that's been in me all my life. And so when we think about what we do here and what I've done getting inside of Legal Shield, when I first got introduced to the information, I fell in love with the membership. Be honest with you, I no doubts about it. Um, I saw the opportunity, but most of you all may not know it, is that, coaching takes a lot of your time. 55, 60, sometimes 65 hours a week trying to actually maintain a successful coaching career. Wins and losses are what I call social security number. You don't win, you got to go. You win, you can stay as long as you win it, right? And so it took a lot of time. So when I saw this opportunity, I couldn't even fathom being able to do this. I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't have time. And so I love the membership. I got the membership. I said, look, I know a lot of people that need it. And he said, well, if I could show you a proven duplicatable system that could buy some of your time back. And I love to tell my story because if you could put a one in the chat, if you know that people in today's society are busy, we can bring them the greatest idea in the world. But when time has consumed them with so much that's going on, as my grandmother used to say, you can't even see the trees for the forest in front of you, right? It's a great idea, but you can't even see it. And that was me. If I had not been able to stop for a moment and actually listen and really see and let him allow him to explain to me how he can help me buy my time back. And as I said to him, I got a lot of things that I need to pay, but I got more month than I do money. And that's not a cliche. That's where I was. All the glitz and glamours, and I like to say the things that they give us and what I call the accolades that we were receiving, it didn't mean anything because at the end of the day, I was struggling. I was paycheck to paycheck. But I think for me, the money wasn't the piece that really grabbed me. It was being able to make a difference and having a legendary mindset. In coaching, we have this thing. Some coaches are coaches, they just coach for the moment. Some coaches coach to be legendary. That means they're there to change lives, that when these young men leave them, to go on to be senators, to be governors, to be judges, attorneys, teachers, whatever your mechanics, whoever they become in the community, you can say that you played a part in molding and shaping them into the individuals that they became. Why do I tell you that? Because that's what I saw with Legal Shield, that I could truly become legendary in my own right with my own family, to be able to say that, you know what, he did it his way and he did it where he made a difference and was an impact in his society, in his community. But most importantly, he impacted so many young individuals that went on to become successful. And so why do I tell you that story? Because I always tell individuals that in this thing called Legal Shield, PPLSI, people are going to come, people are going to go. My question to you is, what type of impact have you made upon them when they come or when they leave? Because some come for a moment, some come for a lifetime, some come for just a short enough time to get off, get their debts paid off, Sally Mae, Annie Mae, all the student loan mafia off their back, and then they're gone. And there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, we all can have big organizations if that was the case. A lot of people got student loan debts, right? But I say that jokingly, but I'm being honest when I say that in this business, having the mentors that I've had here, from Cliff Malloy to all these individuals that I mentioned, on down to some individuals that I didn't mention, I shouldn't have started calling names, but each one of them had played a major part in my life, from cross line to sideline, to you name it, seeing how they operated, seeing how they were able to lead their organization, but most importantly, seeing how they were able to lead themselves. And so tonight, I really want to talk about, who are you? And how do you actually operate? Because you have to know who you are. A lot of times we get individuals that they come into this business and they are in here for a moment, but they come in title driven with something that have been given to them. That, as one gentleman told me, I've been a CFO, I've been a COO, I've been all these things, but now that it's gone, I don't know who I am. Put a two in the chat if you got friends like that. They don't even know who, when the title is gone, it's like, who am I feel like my family, I don't even know who I am to my family anymore. The kids are grown, kids are moved on. Now all of a sudden, if you were a single mother, or you were a mother that was a stay-at-home mom, then what do you do when the kids are gone? Who are you? Do you not feel worthy anymore that you bring something to the table? Why am I saying this? Because we have 2 days left in the end of the month. And what happens during the end of the month, or the latter part of the month, 2 or 3 days left? The real you stands up. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna tell my age, but you remember that little show used to come on with, the real such and such, please stand up. This is where we are. We're at the real you stand up time. We're at the real you moment, where in this moment in time, that once it's gone forever to never return again. This is when the real you stands up. This is where the books that you read, the association with the people that you've been around, the ritual and the habits that you created, this is when it stands up. This is the moment that you've been preparing for. And here's the funny thing. You never know who's watching. You never know. I always like to tell folks that I said this and I was good at being able to explain to people how dominating the moment, staying in the moment was important, until I was diagnosed with prostate cancer and I had to stay in the moment. Because I knew that moments were fleeting like time, that I did not know if I would get enough of it to be able to recover, to do the things, to beat the thing that I knew that was going to beat me, or I was going to beat it. But I had to be in the moment so I could beat it. So let me tell you what I learned. I learned that after the fact, my 12-year-old son trying to have a conversation with him to explain to him that dad is dealing with something. And he said to me, this is what he said. Listen what he said. Okay, so we always win. So you always win. I've never seen you lose. I've seen you fall and get back up. So you always win. Listen to me. Listen to me. He's telling me when I'm trying to say that I don't know if I'm going to beat this, you always win. Remember I said to you, stand in the moments somebody's watching? He said, this is what you told me all my life, that as long as I got time, I got a chance to win. As long as I got a few more moments, I got a chance to win. So what are you saying, that you're not going to win? And that's who you are. That's what you told me for the last 12 years, that I can win. I just got to stay in the moments to keep fighting. It's amazing how the out of mouth obeys, that they can remind you of who you are. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing how a 12-year-old now, I'm facing the biggest thing with prostate cancer, that is the #1 killing African-American males, that has killed more individuals silently, and them going on and not even knowing that they had a chance to fight, or got it too late, or encountered it too late. Whatever the case, you a 12-year-old, as simple as saying, you told me you always win. As long as you got time, you can win. Why am I saying that? I'm saying to you today that every time we come to an end of the month, I'm telling you that you're working on something for the future that you may not even know that's waiting for you. But the very thing that you are doing right now, the very habit, the very ritual, the very thing that you come to the table with in the last 48 hours, how you attract it, how do you attract the things that you need, and how do you approach those last 48 hours determine who you are. It determines who you are. Are you a person that quits when it gets too hard? Are you a person that says, I don't need a whole lot of time, I just need to be right one time? I don't need a whole lot of recruits, I just need to have one recruit. I don't need a whole lot of memberships, I just need to stay in the moment where I can just get one. And as many times as I train on the mastery of actually being able to handle one thing, the one thing leads you to everything. The one thing, not even knowing it, that 6 months later, after coming out of recovery, when he said to me, man, I remember when you couldn't sit up in the bed. So there, you know what, Dad? I saw when you couldn't sit up in the bed. I saw you get up, and now I can see you stand up, and now I can see you can walk and run. And I saw that process. Listen to me. Somebody in your organization is watching what you do at the end of the month when you're giving them lip service, but they're watching your actions, because the actions are speaking so much more louder than what you're saying. They can't even hear. They're watching. They're watching what you're doing when you're making phone calls. Are you running through the month, or you just getting to the point and say, you know what, I'm done? Or you're still creating rituals and a habit that you do, whether I'm behind in the score, whether I'm ahead in the game, whatever the case may be, I bring the same rituals and habits to it every single day, every single moment. It's the same thing. Because in this business called Legal Shield, it is so easy, and in life, for us to be caught up on what I call minute things, the things that, the very minute things of just actually, what I like to say, of not getting what you want on that given time. But maybe that might be the very thing that somebody has to see. Somebody has to see you put in the right work, but not come up and hit the mark. Somebody might need to see, how do you bounce back? As I like to say, let me see what you're really made of, because the universe hears your affirmations. Oh, I heard you say that you're going to be Performance Club qualified. Oh, yeah, I heard you say that I will be senior director by the end of the month. I heard all of this. That's what the universe is saying. But here's the true test. What happens when your back is up against the wall, and now the words that you said out of your mouth that can never come back void, you have to actually have the actions to actually align with it. So when you think about being legendary of who you are, that means everything that you do means something. That's why we say dominate the moments. All we are, individuals, are a series of moments. Moments and times that we never can bring back. Moments and times that when someone sees it at the age of 12, 13, 14, you can't teach what they can't see. You can't teach it if they can't see it. But now all of a sudden your organization sees you consistently consistent. They consistently see you in Performance Club. They consistently see you have days where nobody signs up, but you keep going. They consistently see you making phone calls and nobody setting appointments, but you keep going. Those are the things that create legendary mindsets for individuals that are watching you. That mindset that says, whether I hit it or not, I put the work in, I put the time in. But here's the thing. You know the hardest thing about dominating the moments? People don't tell you that you don't always win in every moment. Some of the moments that, hey, put a one in the chat if anybody like me have had times that you can help everybody else sign up people, but you couldn't even sign your own people up. Come on, put a one in the chat. Let's be honest there. Come on, let's just be honest. Let's be very honest, because again, I think sometimes people think everybody that get in front of us that they sign up. That ain't always the case. I think some of you all think that every group that we go to, they're going to just go, woo, sign up. Everybody 100% sign up. That's not the case. So what do we do? What do we do when we say that, hey, listen, people are watching everything that you do so they can follow what you tell them to do versus you telling them and they can't see you doing it? Here's where we are. I love that inside of Legal Shield, we have this thing called Performance Club. But you know the most important thing that I love? I'm going to tell you the honestly, God truth. I love this one thing, MAD, making a difference. I love that. I love that. You know why? I'm going to tell you why I love MAD. I may not be what Miss Johnson is, where I cannot write as many memberships, but if I can just sign up one person. See, when I learn to sign up one person, in that moment in time, I get a feeling. I get a feeling that I have to hold on to. But here's the one thing that happens when you get that one membership at that one moment in time. You make a difference, but you make a difference in yourself as well. Anybody other than me ever had a member call you back and say, thank you? I appreciate you. Anybody had a member call them and say, you know what? I don't know where I'll be. I don't know what my kids would have been if it had not been for this membership, and it had not been because you showed it to me. You educated them on how the 24-hour access works. Is anybody other than me have had a life-changing moment that even when you want to quit, that memory, that story, that moment won't let you quit? Anybody other than me? Because I'm telling you, to me, I'm probably the person that if I ever got on stage, it will probably scare some people. I'm the person that has no filter that says, this is what it is. This is what changed my life. Yes, I want to quit every day, but that mother that called me and said, thank you, because my son got a ticket, but was in another state and was so afraid that the attorney stayed on the phone and calmed him down so he can get through that. See, those are stories that we need. So when we say stories sell, we ain't talking about to them. One lady talking about, I need more stores. I said, those stores ain't for the people. The stores are for you. You know, the one that you look at every day when you wake up in the morning. You know, the one that you look up when you ain't got no makeup on, the pretty you, the cute you, the ugly you, the one that's tired, that's exhausted, and you still do it anyway. That's the you that I'm talking about that needs that story. That's the you that go out, because again, 48 hours don't mean nothing. Listen, this time is going to leave, and when it's gone forever. But let me tell you about what happens when you get that moment. You want it again. And you want that moment again because you know that you're making a difference. Somebody said to me, why do educators keep educating when they don't make enough money? They're not making the money they need to make. I'll tell you why. I tell you why. I tell you why. It's because they know that somebody has had a situation that there were seniors, juniors that have come back to their elementary school teacher and said, thank you. Thank you, because Miss such and such, Mrs. such and such, if it had not been for da-da-da-da-da-da, I don't think I would have made it this far. We all put a one in the chat if anybody have educators that made a difference in times in your life when you have faced adversity and only thing you can hear was what they taught you, not even realizing that you were learning, they were teaching you something until that time came. Listen, I understand we look upon our life about what we're trying to become. But I think sometimes it's really about what we are unbecoming versus becoming. See, I heard that before, but I'd always said that. I said, you know what? Becoming the person that you dreamed of becoming is about unbecoming the person that you've been all this time, because that didn't get you what you wanted. So you had to be somebody else. So you had to take all those lessons. You had to take those ups, the downs, and all the adversity that you went through to become the person that you dreamed and seen yourself being as a visionary? Put a 2 in the chat if anybody have a vision for themselves. Because Legal Shield, don't get me wrong, when I talk to people, they get started, they get mad because I go, listen, I love Legal Shield. I love everything. But I want to know, what do you see? What do you see for yourself? That's my question today. In this moment in time, tell me, what do you see for yourself? What do you see? Because I can't wake up with you on the side of the bed and say, okay, here we go. Let's go. Get up, Miss Johnson. It's time to go to work. I can't do that for you. But here's what I can say. What did you do for yourself today to make yourself 1% better? What did you do? We all got a vision for ourselves. We all woke up and said, you know what? I saw myself doing, If you have not had it, I need you to go sit down, meditate, and sit still for a moment and visualize, what do you, before it's all said and done, what do you see in yourself? Because I'm going to tell you what happened to me. It was at a given moment that my fight level went to another level, because I said I did not come this far in life to not finish what I saw myself as. See, sometimes you got to have something that puts you in near-death situations for you to realize that you don't have a whole lot of time. Jim Rohn said it. You ain't got 20 more years. You got 20 more times. And so that very person that you said you saw yourself as, that very individual that you saw yourself being legendary, whoever, whatever it was, you ain't got all day to hit that mark. But what you do have, you got one more chance. Every day you wake up, God gives you a choice and he gives you a chance. The question is, what do you do what do you do with the chance that you've been given, and what choices are you going to make to get better as an individual, to become legendary? Because as I always tell folks, when you leave here, somebody's going to say something about you. My question is, what are they going to say about you? What seeds have you laid to, when you are all said and done, what seeds have you laid that somebody says, you know what? Listen, if I've done half of what he's done, I've been successful. I may not have done it all, but if I can just get halfway of what they've done, that's what Legal Shield is about. Legal Shield is about making a difference, giving people an opportunity. One lady said to me, I feel like I haven't done enough. Everybody won't come into business. I said, did you give them the membership? Yeah, that was the opportunity for them. Everybody didn't need the business opportunity, but they needed the ability to be able to exercise the rights that they had. That's why it's important to understand, as a servant, a chosen servant, because all 65 of you all are chosen servants. You know how I know that? Because every time you go to quit, you say, I quit. And then the next thing you know, you in line somewhere, and all of a sudden you giving out a card and you like, I quit Legal Shield. You did, but it didn't quit you. And because you were tapped and chosen, and I got this t-shirt that I used to wear. I got to wear this new one there. It's called Dream Big, Grind Hard 365. But I got a t-shirt that says Chosen One. Here's why. When it chooses you, you can't stop. Although you quit and you don't want to do it no more, it makes you get up and do it when you don't feel like doing it. That's where we are in this last 24 hours. This is when you're chosen. This last 48 hours, this moment in time that you have, this is the moment that have what we call the eclipse time, that now everything that you've been working on all your life, all the stories, all the things, this gives you relatability to make sure you're transparent. Because when someone says to you that you probably don't, like the lady told me, I think you got a story for something and everything you've been through. I said, I've been through a lot. Believe me, from COVID to having cancer to you name it, I think I've been through it, and all of it's hit me like all at the same time. Boom, 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 right? So I can relate when somebody says that, you know what, health is your wealth. He's right. Because when you're in a cancer center and everybody walking around like the Walking Dead, it wakes you up real quick. You become grateful. You become real grateful. And the comeback is not like most people think. Voila, that's not the comeback. Trust me, the comeback is harder. Because now this has to align with the activity, but the heart keeps saying, but you can do this. You can do all of this. But your body said, no, not right now. I don't have the energy right now. And so I remember Mr. Stonecipher used to say, tell me what would happen if you couldn't do this no more. And when I tell you, I don't know what's harder. Being in a position where I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it again, or being in a position that if I can do it, do I have the energy to do it? And to get to the point when you have the energy, because now all of a sudden these stories come to you. And here's what I realized. I realized this. When you start to learn how to dominate and stay in moments, you don't exhaust a lot of energy. You know, the phone calls that come from certain people that have what we call nonsense conversation about nothing. You know, I learned that too. When death is close, you know, crazy stuff don't even make sense no more. You start looking at folks like that. What does that conversation have to do with us moving forward? You know, you heard John Hoffman talk about being solution oriented. You become solution conversational. Like, so what? I can't sit here another 5 minutes and talk about nothing because my time becomes precious. Anybody understand? Put a one in the chat if you realize that time that, you know, somebody told me, you know, the things look different when you got less time in front of you than you do behind you. Where I always tell folks, when you experience death not once but twice, you start to realize real quick, you know, life is what it is. You ain't got a lot of time. You better be the superhuman, the superman, superwoman of your time and your moment, because you don't know how many more of those you're gonna get. So now that you understand that those stories that you've been given, those thank you stories, those stories that you share and your members come back and tell you, when you understand that, now you take that into fuel and now you generate what I call the magic. Well, what's the magic, Mr. Langford? The doing, the STP, showing the plan. That's the magic. Showing the plan, showing it over and over and over and over. And now all of a sudden I'm winning. I did great this month. Great, but you got to do it. Keep doing it. Because all of a sudden you're counting how many times you're doing the presentation, and I'm counting how much better you get doing when you're sharing the information, when you're sending out the information, when you're showing the information by audio, video, however you're showing it, Zoom on demand. I don't care. Just show it. Because like he said, the more you do, the better you become. Because again, you know, you make up the numbers with you lacking skill. That's what Jim Rohn said. But I also heard Les Brown said, listen, I pray to you that, listen, if you ever fall down, that you land on your back. Because I know if you can look up, you can get up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a prime example of what it looks like to be able to fall on your back and be able to get up. But you know what I realize? I realize sometimes people take life and time for granted. That's why you hear me say dominate the moments. We think about how long we got. We don't have long. But if we learn to stay in the moments and be the best version of ourselves, be the person that you dreamed of being every time you walk into the room, know that you deserve to be there because you went through something to get there. They just didn't give you the room. You earned to be in that room. You earn the right to be in that room, wherever it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is, but I do know this. You wouldn't be there if the universe hadn't orchestrated your steps to be there. I do know this. It wasn't a reason. It wasn't a circumstance or a happenstance that all of a sudden you beat something or you made it through something. It was for you to go out and teach people. Teach people that we don't have all day. But what we can do, we can maximize enough moments to create a masterpiece. So as I say to everyone, when I speak about maximizing, dominating the moments, the pen is in your hand. The question is, as I made an oath and a vow to myself, now that I got a pen with a clean slate and a second chance, I think I want to draw the best picture and portrait that I can of my life. Because when it's all said and done, I want you to watch this movie in awe of how many times and how many things that this person kept getting knocked down and kept getting up and had to overcome and kept getting up and they've been told no over and over. And at the end of the movie, it will make you clap. Even when other folks say, you know what, this is an incredible movie or incredible masterpiece. So as I say to you all tonight, don't look at these last 24 hours as 24 hours or 48 hours we got to close the month. Go out and be legendary and dominate the moment so that at the end of the month, somebody can come to you and say, thank you, because if you had not gotten this service to me or had not given me this opportunity, my life wouldn't be the way it is today. Ms. Johnson, I appreciate you allowing me to coach. I was afraid to go too deep, but you said I can go as deep as I wanted to go. So with that, listen, ladies and gentlemen, dominate your moments. When it's all said and done, the only thing we can talk about is how you overcame it. But what did you do in the moment in time that you have? Because we all have them. We just got to maximize. Ms. Johnson, back over to you.
Oh my goodness, you were absolutely amazing, as I knew you would be. And Mr. Langford, do you have just a few minutes to maybe to take some questions or hear some comments? But before I turn it over, and if you have a comment or a question for Mr. Langford, please put up your digital hand, and Teresa and my Teresa B and Teresa J will will I get tickled when I talk about us because we're both Teresas and we spell our name the same way. But we'll make sure that you get plugged into the spotlight here. But Mr. Langford, one of the things, you and I have been together for a long time on this team. And I know you remember way back in the day when Miles Monroe was the spiritual advisor for this entire team. Not only was he that for John and Darcy Hoffman, but for our team. And I'm almost certain you were in the room when the time he said that the richest place in the world is what? The
In the
graveyard.
graveyard. Yep.
Because there are so many people, they died with songs still inside of them, buildings that they never did build, books that they never wrote, and that we are to die empty. And that's pretty much what you're saying. We want to die empty, but it's not dying empty looking further ahead, thinking that it might be 6 years, 10 years, 20 years. You want to die empty every single day.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I want to be completely empty. And
Mhm.
then during the night, I'll be refueled and I'll start back over again. And so, what you're really saying is that every day we get to wake up with a clean canvas. What are you
Mhm.
going to paint on your canvas? What's going to be the picture that you end up at the end of the day on your canvas? Because the next day you get to take the paper and turn it over and you get to start again. And when you get to start again, realizing that you're making a difference in so many people's lives. I know some people hear it all the time, and they hear us when we say that, this company is about making a difference in people's lives, but we really are.
That's
We
right.
really are making a difference. Like you said, that person saying thank you, because had I not had this service, had I not had this opportunity, I don't know where I would be right now.
Yep.
Some people who come to us, they're not just behind on life, they're behind on their dreams.
Yep.
And we've been able to make a significant difference for them. So I just wanted to bring that back up to you,
Yeah.
because sometimes I forget about how Dr. Miles Monroe was there with us during
Right.
those early days of being on this team.
Very impactful. Very impactful.
Absolutely. So any comments from anyone? I cannot believe y'all. The
Mhm.
hands aren't raised. All right, Miss
They're in the
Teresa,
chat.
go right
Hey,
ahead.
Miss Teresa.
Okay. I just want to say thank you. That's so inspiring to me because my problem is being consistent. So I'm hearing for me to get consistent, then I can not only people on my team, but all the people out there that are considering joining my team are
Mhm.
waiting for me to be consistent because I can't make a difference for them. And then I remember Cliff Malloy said when he was on recently, if I can't distance myself from
Mhm.
my distractions will distance me from my goals.
Absolutely.
So thank you. This
Ooh,
made a huge difference for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you, Teresa. Jane,
Hey, I cannot see myself tonight, so I'm glad you can see my hand up.
we
I want,
see you.
yeah, thank you so much. This, I needed to hear this. I do a lot on the small business and the solutions group side. Now's our time to be doing school enrollments and things like that. But the time that we saw Darnell Self cross the stage and get his 1,000 app award,
Mhm.
and he even looked a little sheepish, like, he'd only written 1,000 personal apps, yet he's one of the top leaders. That was the moment that the light bulb went on for me that I have got to build a team. It is
Mhm.
essential to build a team. And why wouldn't I? Because I'm helping other people when I do it. So everything you've said tonight it's just drilling home. I know it is I have a workout partner on here, Brenda
Mhm.
Daniels and Robert Bagley. We all talk quite a few times per week. It's hitting all of us. Phyllis Martins as well. So we love
Absolutely.
what we're hearing, and we're going to continue talking about it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Miss Regina Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Langford. I was just sitting back, just kind of soaking it all up because we had the privilege of listening and visiting with you last week on our morning mastermind. But thank you for being transparent and sharing and, just letting us know these last 24, 48 hours, anything can happen. We just got to put it out there, be consistent and believe in it. So thank you for sharing. You are so awesome.
Thank you.
You are so welcome, sir.
All right, Robert.
Okay. You absolutely transfixed me, Mr. Langford. I have been having some issues with a foot, and today I have done very little in Legal Shield, and it's been aggravating to say the least. And there's definitely a point where I could give up and say, the hell with it. I quit, as you put it. But no, I'm not going to do that. I didn't become an engineer by doing that, so I'm not going to quit here at this point. So thank you, sir. I really appreciated you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Brenda.
Mr. Langford, thank you so much. Very powerful story. I was tearing up hearing about your 12-year-old, and thank God for your 12-year-old, because boy, that sure helped you raise up and get up. Besides Legal Shield, and that's what our loved ones can do for us. And I can't wait to see what God has planned for you, because you're here for a reason, and being with us tonight was one of those reasons. Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless you as well.
Thank you, Brenda. All right. I don't see any other hands up here. Mr. Langford, I just want to say on behalf of Teresa Berlin and myself, we just thank you so much for sharing and pouring into your Shield Nation family. And, we look forward to celebrating all the success that you allow yourself to have. And so before we close out, we always like to say the last words, turn it back over to our guest speaker to close us out.
Well, thank you, Ms. Johnson. Again, like I stated earlier, we all a series of nows. And so now that we have a moment, now in this given time of this 2024, year of 2024, closing out the month of July, let's go be legendary. But most importantly, when we look back on our lives, let's let people say that, you know what? They might not have been right, and they might not have actually been the greatest at every given time and every given moment. But this given moment, that this time in 2024 of July, they became legendary, because that is when they realized that they had enough and they were enough, and they went out and made a difference and were impactful in their other people's lives. So with that, I turn it back over to you, Ms. Johnson.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Langford. And listen, we're sending all of our prayers, continued prayers for you and your family and your father as well.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate it.
wishing the best for you, and can't wait to see you in Dallas or Baltimore. So,
Absolutely.
all right. Let me remove the spotlights. And Teresa, I'll turn it to you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. What an amazing call. And let's go out and close out the month. I'm excited. Have a great night, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Night, everyone.